With so many bicep curl variations out there, you gotta ask yourself, which one's the best? When trying to determine which is the most effective curl variation, we got to consider which muscle is primarily being worked in the variation. So in all these bicep curls that I'm about to show you, the bicep is the primary muscle being activated, which would logically lead to more hypertrophy. The only curl variation that we're going to look at today that does not have the bicep as the primary muscle being worked is the reverse grip curl. Now I will highlight this muscle that it does primarily work in red. This is called the brachialis, and it's labeled right there so you can see it. This muscle kind of grows underneath and beside the bicep and slightly connects to the forearm. It can be kind of difficult to see how this grip is different than a standard grip until you switch the angle. From this angle you can tell that my palms are facing down, and that's what the reverse grip comes from, because usually in a bicep curl your palms are facing straight up, and that's what is that pulling up is what contracts the bicep. Even though this exercise doesn't directly hit the bicep as much as the other curls we're going to look at, is not completely useless. But on a scale of 1 to 10 on terms of effectiveness for growing your biceps, I would have to give it a 7 out of 10. Standing barbell curl. So complete honesty here, I'm going to be a little biased because this is my favorite variation. I love this variation because you can load up on extremely heavy weights. So as you probably noticed, when I was doing the reverse curl or reverse grip curl, all I had was two 10-pound plates. On this one, if I do an easy bar, I can load up to 35-pound plates on each side. So that is just like a really big plus in my book, because I like to lift heavy and as heavy as I can. And another plus about barbells is that you can easily progressively overload, opposed to dumbbells. You can just put 2.5-pound plates on, you can put a 5-pound plate on, you put it's just really easy to progressively overload. So I'd have to give the barbells curl a 10 out of 10. So dumbbell curls are pretty much the simplest curl variation that you can do. Pretty much everyone knows how to do them, and that's probably their biggest advantage. Another advantage I think may be that since there's no bar blocking your range of motion, it could perhaps make your range of motion greater since your arms can't extend past your hips. But I'm not positive if that is true. I'm sure there's some way that you could work around that with a barbell. But the one thing I do like, since I can extend my arm and it can go past my hips, is I can get a more full feeling rep at the end of the motion. So I like to go really high with the rep and then go extremely down, and I would like to straighten my arms so much so that I can feel my tricep contract. Now that's something that I can do with the barbell, but it is much more intense with a dumbbell. So with a dumbbell, you get maybe a little bit more range of motion and a little bit more of a full rep. So I'd have to give this a 9 out of 10 just because I can't progressively overload as well as I can with a barbell. I had to get a little bit of outside help for this. So for the hammer curl, there doesn't seem to be that many differences between the hammer curl and the standard grip curl. And I'm not saying there aren't some differences. There are certainly some based on like muscle mechanics and how the dumbbell is going to move and stuff, but basically I think that if you're implementing one of these, either a standard or a hammer curl, you're gonna hit your biceps fine. So if you just implement either standard grip or hammer curl, you don't need to do both, because both of them are going to hit the bicep, and the bottom line is that you need to hit your bicep.